We're going to use our Acres platform to provide an overview of the St. Francis Bootheel farm. So starting very big picture, you can see the farm located here in the Bootheel region of the Delta in Missouri. This is the northernmost portion of the Mississippi Delta. Looking at a couple USDA items to kind of put this in context relative to the rest of the country. This is a region with a lot of irrigated production. You can see in terms of the soybean irrigated production here, it's some of the highest in the country. The darker red indicates greater, concentration and larger volume of irrigated acreage. Looking at cotton production by total sales, another layer here to kind of show this is a dominant cotton growing region. In addition to just overall grain production, this is a region that holds its own very well across the entire country. And then looking at rice production, this is a region, again, that is dominant in terms of the production of rice in this country, along with the Central Valley of California, though different varieties are grown in the Delta versus what is grown in the Central Valley of California. Another important aspect here is just access to market. So being in close proximity to the Mississippi River, farmers here have access to both local and international markets on a very cost-effective basis. Zooming in a little bit more on this region, one thing to note, this is a common sourcing area for us at Acre Trader. You can see our overall portfolio of Acre Trader managed properties. We currently have over 2,600 acres under management that have been previously funded on the platform. So this is a core aggregation area for us. One of the reasons that we really like the Bootheel as a core farming region, this portion of the Delta generally contains lighter soils than many other areas within the Delta. Most of the soils here are going to be silt loam soils. And what that provides is one, greater crop optionality. And so you get a better rotation of being able to grow corn, soybeans, rice, and cotton. And then because of the lighter soil structures here, and then because of the confluence of rivers, this farm is located right in between the Black River and the St. Francis River. Obviously, you have the influence of the Mississippi River coming down. Because of the confluence of rivers here, the groundwater naturally recharges, and it makes that groundwater resource both very abundant and very sustainable. To kind of put that in context, there are 3 wells here on this property. The depth to groundwater is approximately 20 feet. So one other thing to note, just to kind of give you the idea of topography here, we can turn on our 3D layer. We can actually exaggerate this, and you can see this farm is exceptionally flat. And it was actually leveled in 2022. And we can highlight that with a number of the layers that you see here. But we are on the very western edge of the Bootheel. Turning to some other parcel specific layers on. So let's look at some of the insights on crop history. You can see the historical rotation of corn, soybeans, and rice on this farm. Again, 2022 was a year that not all of it was planted because of the improvement leveling work that was conducted at that time. We can also look at the historical imagery. Now, with the historical imagery, we only have 2022 and then historical years. And so we actually don't have the post grading and leveling of the farm even in here. But you do see very consistent imagery here. You don't really see areas that stand out as troublesome. That's always an encouraging sign. Now, finally, we can look at the vegetation index for this property. So this pulls the maximum NDVI each year. That indicates a plant's health based on light wave reflection, and it can really point out troublesome areas. Again, you can see in 2022 when the farmer leveled the fields and it was not fully planted because of the improvement, you can actually see that standing out here. And in 23 and 24, very consistent. And even years prior to the leveling, you generally see very consistent trends here. So that's obviously encouraging. You can see on this property, there are 3 wells. So this farm is basically 3 80-acre rectangles that are graded to drain to the north, with the well at the southern end of each of these fields. Turning on now the soils layer. So looking at the soil types on this farm, so you see 2 dominant soils here, Amagon silt loam and Calhoun silt loam. Again, this farm is fully irrigated. These soil series carry a texture that is really ideal for water holding and for nutrient retention. But this must be properly drained and managed, as they do have pretty slow permeability. That is where the leveling benefit comes in. These soils are highly capable of growing rice, which are very tolerant to wet conditions. And then in addition, very capable of growing crops like corn and cotton with appropriate water management and appropriate drainage. Finally, we're big believers in using data to our advantage. We believe that we have the most extensive data available for farmland transactions in the country. And we can quickly curate comps by filtering and making sure that we're only looking at farms that are directly comparable to this property. And so when we run this for both recency, size and scale, and other factors, when we curate our comp analysis, and we search for just looking at the Bootheel region, which we can actually just draw a quick polygon here to make sure we only grab what's relevant, just to kind of show a quick example of how we do this internally. And ultimately, what we were able to find is 13 comps that are directly comparable and most recent for this property. And of these 13 comparable transactions in the Bootheel, they were at an average price of $10,752 per tillable acre. This compares to the all-in purchase price of $9,848 per tillable acre for the St. Francis Bootheel farm. So we believe that we are offering this high-quality farmland asset at an attractive price relative to the local market conditions. All of this information is detailed within the document section in the PPM, and there's also a full financial model available for download.